I would say it's similar to the day after Game 5. So we had three of them in a row. So by the time you get to the third one, it's not out of the order of what you've been doing. We've run the exact same routines kind of in days. Just the game ended, had a team meal after. You know, it was excited for 10 minutes, lots of chatter, and then the physical toll of the game kind of slid in, and the place was cleaned out by midnight. So as much as the season ending, the series ending was, critically important, we were kind of living that day for about a week going into it.
Well, what changed in the group after you lit into them here on the bench?
I don't think anything. I think maybe they just stopped listening to me. It's probably, they just stopped listening.
What I mean, okay, in the way they played that, or because something did?
No, we had been good prior. We truly had been. My frustration was based on, I loved our game in Ottawa. We lost 5-3 in Ottawa. We gave up 3 shorthanded goals, but I loved our game. So we had gone on this good run. We had 2 tough nights, Toronto at home and the Rangers at home. Then you got to get off the mat. So I felt Ottawa was, and then I felt our game in here wasn't. And it was just, my own frustration for that. And then, but we had just returned to form. We had been good prior. It wasn't, we were struggling and then we took off. That wasn't it. We had played very, very well and really worked hard to get ourselves back into the mix. There were some turnovers on the ice I didn't like, and that's kind of, and then I don't remember what I said, but it wasn't very nice.
Sheldon Keefe mentioned that you reached out to him when he got this job.
Yeah.
How do you look back now that some time has passed on your days coaching the Leafs?
Really valuable to me. Coming off the curve, my first tour in Carolina, still a very young guy. So many lessons that I've used going forward. And in truth, a lot of it has to do with dealing with the Canadian market. It's a completely different animal. And you have to be aware of the impact of what you say in your room, and how it sets the stage for the message. So there's a lot to coaching in the Canadian market. There really is. And I don't think that I was necessarily prepared for it, but you learn, right? You learn as you go. And by the time we got through it, I have a better insight into, I think, how to manage my days with the media.
Is the playoff series different in the Canadian market?
Oh, well, if it's possible, I don't know that it's possible here, but you'll prove me wrong. It's more extreme.
Given your history in this market, and given the stage and this team's history over the last 20 years, which you're a part of, what does this opportunity mean to you?
So I'll go back and answer a question from earlier, and then I'll tie it to this one. I'm driving down the Gardiner one day in my first year here, and I wouldn't say I'm having a panic attack, but I am full anxiety because I did about 80 interviews that day. I got asked a version of the same question like 20 times, and I think I answered it differently 20 times, and I was trying to remember what I had said. And then I hit the 427. It was an epiphany. I said, that's it. I'm never, ever worrying about what I say again, ever. I'm just going to go out, try to tell the truth, get off and leave it. And if I mess it up, I mess it up. So that was one of the things that I learned here. I wasn't here long enough to have it. In true, I was here 2 years, right? Missed the playoffs by a point the first year. I was real proud of that team. We lost Michael Pekka early. We were a good team, lost Pekka, and then we were scratching and clawing. The next year was a challenge. My connection to Toronto is through my kids and through living here and them going to school and the people. I don't have that same connection to a team that you would. I was here 2 years.
Same topic. What do you remember about 0-2 in the series? Here, the close games, coaching Rod and all that.
Oh, wow. Marty Jelena, right? Jonas Hoagland's missed empty net. Pat Quinn sick, right? He missed a game with his heart. Yeah. He was sick. The sneaky part, what I remember is that I don't believe that we gave up a 5-on-5 goal in that series. We gave up 4-on-4, 6-on-5, 4-on. We gave up every other possible way you can give up a goal. But I don't think we gave up a 5-on-5 goal in that series, and it was quiet. Nobody noticed that, but we were pretty good clutching. That was back in when you could get away with clutching and grabbing. We were really good at it.
Paul, you've been the clear underdog over the years, Coach.
just had, massive underdog against Boston. You've been the clear favorite, you know, Winnipeg going into Vegas, the 2018 conference final. You've been in both chairs, you know, the odds makers now are saying the Leafs have the best odds of winning the cup of the last 8 teams. What is it about this league that I think a lot of us still get caught up, and I include the players in that, of the perception of a favorite and an underdog and the pressure that puts sometimes on a team that is favored?
When you shave half the teams out of the playoff picture, you're only left with good teams. There's no bad teams left. We spend too much time going first and wild card and underdog. They're all good teams. On every team that made the playoffs, you're going to have 2 or 3 potent lines. Maybe the 8th seeds got 2, and you run into Boston. I think they had 5. Truly, the 3 guys that didn't play were good players up front. But that gap isn't as big as people think. The separation isn't as big as people think.
Well, Matthew Tkachuk's ability to drag his team into the fight. What's that like as a coach when you're watching him just elevate his game in the playoffs and then the impact it has on the rest of the lineup?
So what you said is true, and I understand the line. But what's missed with Matthew is a maturity in his game from the start of the year to the end of the year. Now, I know you look at the penalty minutes and you say, well, the playoffs doesn't prove that out, but that was the series. That was the event of the series. He wasn't running around clipping people. I think, you guys can look this up, since January, I think he took penalties in 6 games. One was the Ottawa game, so you would have all seen that. That was a dog and pony show for sure. And then there were 2 others where he had 2-minute minors. He's not in the box much more. So in terms of dragging the team into the fight, it's actually more of a production idea than it is an intensity causing a problem idea in front of the net. Now, he's net front, hence the production, right? That comes first. Him being an agitator isn't where he starts his game. There's a maturity in this young man's game. He's a performer, and he's a producer. He's also got an edge to him, right? He's not afraid to go in most places. What is it about him? I don't know the answer to that. If there was any kind of thing, you just have 20 of them, wouldn't you? You'd just say, hey, just do this. He is an elite performer. His hands are off the charts good. They're different. They're not kind of like Patrick Kane-ish. They're a different set of hands. But before that overtime goal, if you look at it really, really closely, he banks that puck off the glass. I don't know if he did it on purpose. I didn't even notice it until I was just putting the video together for tonight. He takes that puck, he puts it off the glass, and he looks around and he looks for it, and it comes down on the other side. That's what I mean. He's got a different set of hands than I've seen.
When you stepped away from Winnipeg, was there ever any chance that might have been, in your mind, maybe your end as a coach?
All 100% chance it was done. Yeah. I just had 4 of the most fabulous days of fishing in June that I ever had in my life. The weather was perfect. We're driving home from the cottage. And a number comes up on my phone that I don't know. So I don't answer it because I don't know the number. And then I get a call from Bill Zito, and 4 days later I was in Florida.
You missed the fishing this spring?
No, it'll be all right. There's fishing where I am now, too. What really happened in that, there's all those little triggers. Just some strange things. I'll just tell one of the stories because it's too long. My kid walks in, and my kid was applying to schools. He said, hey, I just got into the University of Miami. That was in March. And I thought, well, all right. We're going to get you a 2-bedroom condo. You don't know it, but you're getting roommates. Mom and Dad are coming. And it was just kind of this unusual set of process. You know.
I was going to ask you about the road. Why do you think there's been so much success, playoff-wise, road?
I can't figure that out. I don't know that. Maybe as these teams get more and more skilled, that's the place they go to, right? That's their talent. Sometimes you play a simpler game at times on the road. That's the best I got for you.
How similar is the challenge against the Leafs versus what you just went through with Boston?
In some ways, very similar, right? We will almost view them as the same team. In some of their structure, they collapse heavily to net front in their own end. They're very dynamic off the rush. They make plays off the rush. And like Boston now, and this is more maybe new for Toronto over the last couple of years, they get net front, right? So in terms of maybe how they move the puck and really how they defend, a lot of that's similar. The difference is there's a different speed element, we think. And there's a different set of hands, a different kind of offensive plays that they make, the shot tips, some of the backdoor tips, some of the creative ways they get a puck through somebody. Boston indirects more pucks, chips the holes. These guys will put it through your feet, under your stick. They're a pretty nifty set of hands. Other than that, dominant center iceman, veteran center iceman, a lot of similarities.
You've gotten production from Montour all year, but the last month and the last series, how impressive is the way his game is going?
Yeah, he's been so good for us this year. I think confidence, we fire those words around, but for a player like that, because he has an unusual, again, we've got a lot of unique players in our room. That's the word I'd kind of describe. It's unique. He's an incredible skater, right? His ability to change directions and to get up the ice and pick his spots. And as the years gone on, I think playing with Mark Stahl has had a really big impact on his career, because Mark has been so consistent with his game every night, such a great pro every night. The other thing I think what happened is when Brandon went on the power play, it produced enough points that his 5-on-5 game could relax, which in turn produced more 5-on-5 points, right? So you just settle. He's been a guy that's kind of fought 5-6 to get into the 5-6 hole, and then to try to get out of the 5-6 hole. And once that happens, his game is settled.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate it.